One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the love, the thunderous roar. Insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report he paves his way. Oh, legend in the making, day by day.
Good morning. Good morning to all of you legends up in the building, man. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your Thursday morning so far. Absolutely. Now, I have no idea why I started the stream, and then for some reason it just didn't start on the YouTube page. So then I had to restart or disconnect it from the StreamYard while I was still live on other platforms, and then reconnect it, go live again, restart the countdown. It was a nightmare. I have no idea why it even did that. So, listen, I very much appreciate every single one of you guys. We have a lot to obviously go through on this show. There's a lot to discuss. And, hey, you know, it's part of the deal. We're on day, 7 of tests now, so, or 6. So I have this labeled ICE protests spread nationwide and Trump birthday parade preps DC, which is Washington, DC. But there's also a lot of other interesting stories that are going to be presented live onto the show this morning. There's a lot going on. So we're going to be going into basically 2 ordeals about the LA riots specifically. And the Marines have completed their training, so they're going to be deploying within the next 2 days. Then we're going to be going into hearing Karen Bass speak last night. And then we're going to be going into kind of weird stories here. We have a breaking news story that happened about 3.5 hours ago. Air India Boeing plane crashes with 240 people on board. That is terrible. Then we're going to be going into, I guess there was this whole ordeal where the anti-ICE protesters were tipped off about an LA hotel housing ICE agents. So this is going to be very interesting to be going into these stories for damn sure. Then another breaking news story that happened 49 minutes ago is this is a breaking ordeal. CIA releases new RFK assassination documents. So these are all fairly short segments. But we have a lot to get through this morning. So before we do, man, make sure you guys come in and hit that like button. I always appreciate it. It's the #1 metric of all of YouTube. Helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. Listen, if you guys are brand new to the show, hit that subscribe button because it's also free. Listen, man, please consider becoming a member. Starting only at $2.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank with anybody out there. But listen, this is the exact way that we don't ever have to cater to views to speak the way that we speak and do the show. We are 100% funded by you guys in the Breakfast Club. So W to you guys. Yeah. Side note, follow my Instagram right here at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my lifestyle, but as well as the show and Millennial Food Time, man. This is a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. Direct message me over there. And listen, if you guys want to continue the conversations with all of us in the Breakfast Club after the show, of course, make sure you guys hit that Discord link, man. We're in there every day. We're family in there, man. I mean, all of us. So I very much appreciate you guys joining up. Naomi's throwing the link for the Discord in the chat once in a while. And if you guys are watching this on the playback, it's in the link of the video description down below of every video. So, last but not least, of course, every super chat, super sticker, gifted membership signups, all of these things are, of course, going to be shouted out live onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take, I don't know why it's got to be so much. But if you guys would like to skip that, we have these platforms scrolling for the remainder of the show. And of course, I will shout you and your message out and here live. So for the pocket watchers out there, not the Breakfast Club, but for the pocket watchers.
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking
shit. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get into it. We have a lot to cram in here, a lot to discuss. We got Glare 1%er up in the building. We got Charles, my man. We got Naomi as well. We got Brother Beezer, my man. Good to see you as well. Rabbit of Chaos, good morning to you. Brother Steve Easy, shit. We got Brother Doug Ross as well, man. Good to see you as well. Yes, we're going to be going into all of it, man. There's a lot of chaos, man. And I'm sorry for everyone that was up above in the comment section on the previous show. I think everyone was waiting to, for us to go live, and then obviously it just didn't work out. So, listen, it is what it is. We continue trucking on, and that's just the way we do it. So, good morning to everyone. Hopefully, you guys are all doing good, man. So, let's go ahead and hop into this. We have the very first one is the Marines completed training, and I believe this was reported yesterday. Yes, it was 11 hours ago. So, I wanted to start you guys off with this and to have the I guess the breaking news of what is happening throughout the, right now. And then, of course, then we'll go back and kind of go into the older stories within the last 12 hours, right?
And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. Let's keep it moving with the biggest story over the last 6 days there in Los Angeles. Take a look at this live picture down on the ground in downtown Los Angeles. You can see there quite a large group of protesters still descending on the downtown. You see there are these police vehicles moving on. So in the meantime, we're going to try to keep these shots up as much as we can. You see there California National Guard members that have been federalized in order to bring some of this unrest under control, though we have not seen any tense moments, any conflict since we've been bringing you these scenes just today. Now, obviously, you have probably been watching throughout the last 6 days, and that can change on.
And I have this on playback speed quick, you know what I mean? Because I want to be able to get through all of this shit. But yeah, the Marines did complete their training.
Here, let's get an update, though. Let's get a kind of debrief of all of these protest movements going on in so many cities across the country. From Fox News' William LaJeunesse. Let's listen.
Los Angeles expecting a 6th day of protest against President Trump's crackdown on illegal migrants as solidarity rallies and violence erupt in cities across the country. But stillness greeted the nation's second largest city this morning after an overnight curfew enacted in response to the looting of nearly 24 businesses. Later today, active duty Marines could join already deployed National Guard troops.
We will not allow federal agents to be attacked, and we will not allow an American city to be invaded and conquered by a foreign enemy.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is continuing to criticize the federal response.
This is about all of us. This is about you. California may be first, but it clearly will not end here. Other states are next. Democracy is next.
Protests against ICE seen across the country.
We're in the belly of the beast, and if we're not showing up to...
Oh my God, look at this dude. Oh yeah, just go up to the fucking, the white gay dude, and start asking him questions.
show them that we're here and that we're present, then who else is?
Protests have popped up from Seattle to Boston, Chicago, Atlanta, D.C., and New York, leading to dozens of arrests. Some local politicians say they support their residents.
The federal government does not seem to be following all the laws in this moment, and that's why we are standing up and refusing to be bullied out of speaking the truth.
A federal judge Thursday will consider a lawsuit by Governor Gavin Newsom to limit the military's role. In Los Angeles, William LaJeunesse, Fox News.
William, thanks so much. In the meantime, let's bring into the conversation now our colleague and friend there, national security analyst and expert and retired Marine intelligence officer, Hal Kemper. He joins me. Hal, thanks for being with us. I know you're traveling, but we had to get you on for a second night in a row here as we continue to look at these live images there in downtown Los Angeles. Hal, we have to acknowledge this. I'm sure you've acknowledged it. The Marines not on ground yet. What do you make of that?
Well, what I understand is they're just outside of Los Angeles. They're undergoing training and preparation in order to go into the city. I don't read too much into it, other than it's the planning process. The National Guard gets training in civil disturbance on a regular basis. It's something they do.
They did complete their training. They're deploying within 2 days.
Usually, they do it in state active duty status, working under the governor. In that regard, they are not held under posse comitatus, that federal law that says the military can't do law enforcement. In this case, they're federalized. Doesn't mean they didn't get the training in civil disturbance. Marines, on the other hand, this is an unusual training set, if you will. It's not that Marines have not been trained in civil disturbance. I know for a fact Marines have been trained in this many times, and they've been trained it for here in the U.S. and overseas. But it's just not part of the regular training curriculum. So what they did is they brought them in. I think part of it too is there's a lot of forces that have been brought in under this Task Force 51 to go into Los Angeles, and I'm seeing the normal sort of organizational issues of getting forces deployed to certain areas and set up and self-sustainable and all the other things that go with that. So I think there's kind of a deliberate process here of movement onward to wherever they got to go. And so they're staged right outside of LA, but they could come in rather quickly. One thing I would say is I haven't seen the protests spark up in such a way that there's an exigent need to put them in sooner. And I think that's something that has to be taken into consideration.
So this was posted about under an hour ago. According to the LAPD, the Central Division, there are 3 separate demonstrations occurring at this hour, and they say to expect delays at some of these intersections and street corners here. You see there Temple and First Street, Temple and Aliso, and First Street from Main Street there. They say about 150 people on bicycles riding westbound. Haven't necessarily seen that throughout this. We've seen them on scooters and the like, but also LA County Sheriff saying this: to avoid protest area, that a demonstration is underway in downtown Los Angeles, saying to please avoid the area due to heavy traffic and potential delays, saying use alternate routes and stay updated via official sources. So Al, I think this is kind of a bare bones question here, if you can help us, because I've been having trouble with distinguishing who these law enforcement entities are with respect to their uniforms, what they wear, the badges on their shoulders, and the...
Damn straight, Jesus saves. Good to see you, by the way. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning so far. I know that we are. We got Papa Penguin up in the building, saying 2-7 is just going to be babysit buildings so Leos can be freed up. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
The like here. So
good to see you.
What jurisdiction are these
Brother Dean as well?
From?
I'm trying to make it out right now. I will tell you that LAPD is out there. LA County Sheriff's is out there. They are bringing in other jurisdictions under mutual aid out there as well. A lot of these other jurisdictions, and these might be, I'm taking a look here. It looks like those are National Guard, I believe.
The shield that they're holding says California National Guard.
Those are National Guard, yeah.
Yeah, so they're National Guard. But there are, but some in the back are clearly not. They're probably a local police department. I would mention this is part of an ongoing discussion that's been going back for 30 or 40 years, which is the militarization of law enforcement, where they have units that wear, what look like military uniforms. They wear helmets. They've got body armor, everything. And from a distance, many times it's very difficult to see whether they are actually military or law enforcement, particularly in this situation, because we actually have military in these areas. And I have heard it misreported at times that they thought there was military that was in direct contact or doing stuff with the protesters. In actuality, it was law enforcement that was dressed up in what appears to be, military or paramilitary uniforms that are part of their usually special enforcement or their SWAT type presence. So, that you saw right there was with the California National Guard. Those are California National Guard, albeit they are in federalized status. What I would point out that's interesting is
what's up, Adriano? And we got Mark, my man. Good to see you, man. All you guys. I very much appreciate it. We definitely glitched out in the very beginning, but we're pushing through, you know what I mean? For some reason, it doesn't have the thumbnail up right now for the show, and I can't change that until after I end the show, so people have no idea other than what the title is. So that kind of hurts the searchability for the show this morning. But that is what it is. We'll put it up. You can't win them all like that,
Shield said California National Guard. Normally, when they're doing a mission like this, they would be in state status.
Okay.
And that's why they would distinguish the fact that they are California National Guard, kind of showing that state status, working for the governor, where they are not fall under posse comitatus rules against law enforcement. However, those are the only shields they got. So even though they got federalized, those are the shields they have.
So Hal, I've seen photos, and maybe we can put some of them up on X, from Homeland Security, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Los Angeles, that the National Guard...
Just remember all this shit right here boils down. What it boils down to is a national security issue. So yeah, of course, we want to hear what,
federalized,
what they got to
California
say.
National Guard has been used to protect federal employees, i.e. ICE agents, from carrying out raids. We've seen that. It's been documented in photographs. We also have seen the National Guard protect federal buildings, like in downtown Los Angeles. We've seen that. That's what we're seeing right now. Does the federalized National Guard have the power to detain protesters, Hal?
Oh, shit. Brother Glare coming in, dropping a 5 spot, saying they just need some waters for the protesters so they can drive the AOC throughout the don't lines like it's a door. Wait, hold on. Throughout the don't lines like it's a door. Okay, let me fucking redo this. I'm going to try to fucking... They just need some waters for the protesters so they can drive. I'm going to say just AOC throughout the don't lines like it's a door. Shit. Well, I don't get it. But hey, man, I very much appreciate you, dude. Glare says I fucking hate autocorrect. I'm sure it was like... I'm like, what the fuck? I'm trying to read this shit, man. But hey, I very much appreciate it. You can restate what you were gonna say, and I'll pop it up and read it for you. You know what I mean? Oh, APC. Okay, I got you. I'm like AOC, but I don't know how this connects to AOC, but it somehow does, right?
That's one of those things. Posse Comitatus is a really small body of law. It's like one very small paragraph, a couple of
Well, shit, I can't read jibber jabber sometimes.
sentences. What they can't do is they can't arrest the protesters. However, and this has happened many, many times, they're out there doing security stuff. Protesters get in their face. They pose a threat, whatever. What can they do? Well, obviously, they can respond with force. But the other thing they can do is they can detain. Now, they can't arrest, and they need to...
Yo, real quick. Shit. We got Emerald up in here. We got freaking Frank. Good to see you, man. Hopefully all is well. And do you see Hardwire? I didn't see him. I don't see him. I don't know why I don't. Oh, there he is. Up there. Yeah, what's up, Hardwire, my man? Good to see you. Hopefully you're all doing well. As well as Rebecca up there in freaking Canada. There goes Steve Easy saying... We are hooked on phonics up in this bitch. Wicked smart. Hey, true. W comment, by the way, and thank you for making it rain with the 5 spot. You know what I mean? I very much appreciate that. Yes, I can be illiterate as fuck, and it does not work out for me in my best interest sometimes, but that's okay.
Move them into law enforcement custody as quickly as possible whenever they do that. I don't know if there's a hard and fast rule on how long they can detain them. I don't recall there being anything statutorily that says it has to be X number of minutes or hours or whatever, but they can detain them. They just can't do anything that would be done by a sworn peace officer in terms of arresting them or anything like that. But they can detain them on site, and that will happen as you have federal troops protecting ICE agents doing these raids, which we talked about when this whole thing kicked off, that appeared to be a mission that they were going to be doing. That they would be detaining people.
So this is what I'm talking about.
Oh my God, because I restarted the live, it actually didn't even send it to the same YouTube video. It sent it to a whole different one. So all my pinned comments, my polls that I had up ready for you guys is all not there. That's fantastic. Well, I'll start working on it right now.
Photo right here of a National Guard member on hand while an ICE arrest is happening. So you're saying that that's not all too unusual?
No, that's not. Well, the whole thing is a little bit unusual, but yeah, that is actually a mission that would be normally expected, and there are rules of force and procedures that they have to go through in terms of detaining. But what you're seeing there is law enforcement actually arresting the individual. The federal troop is providing security. Now, the federal troop, if there wasn't law enforcement there and they were providing security, they could potentially detain them. I think within that, they could probably even, there's certain things they could do to restrain them if they were unruly or violent or something like that, like maybe put on flex cuffs or something. And that would be perfectly permissible. What they can't do is they can't put them under arrest. They can't read them the rights. They can't do any of that. They can't book them or do any of the things a sworn law enforcement officer or a law enforcement officer would do in that regard.
Okay.
And so that's the limitation right now. Now, if President Trump was to impose the Insurrection Act, that would change the situation. But he has not done that. He certainly made noise, or I should say, put out rhetoric that indicates he's very clearly considering that at some point.
Yeah.
But he hasn't done that.
All right, Al, let's talk about the curfew in place. It'll be in place now tonight for a second night, starting at 8 p.m. local time. Do curfews work? I know you've been around crowd control, and so you are a really good resource with respect to that. When it went into effect last night, there was some type of grace period, but it eventually seemingly worked here. Will it work a second night? Do curfews work? That's my question.
Curfews tend to work. In fact, curfews are, we use them all over the world. We had curfews when we went to Iraq. There were curfews. Their curfews work. And what curfews really do is they get any potential threat, if you will, off the streets. Or if they are on the streets during a curfew, then they've clearly identified themselves as someone who has first decided to violate the curfew. Does that mean they're an active threat? Well, it does mean that they can be detained, that they can be stopped, and there are certain,
All right, real quick, I just gifted out 5 memberships for the scuffed start of the stream this morning. So there you go. I mean, and it shows that, content creators have 10 gifted subs to give out for free, and I still don't have that ability. I just looked at it. That's specifically why I did it. I set up the poll, and then I wanted to see if I can gift them out, but I couldn't. Still can't, so I had to buy them. But no problem with that. Hopefully it goes out to all of you guys, all of you legends out there.
Conditions that you have that you wouldn't have if it was just a regular day and people were out on the streets. So you're saying, look, you cannot be in this area at this period of time. And if somebody is in that area, it is understood that they will be taken into custody or detained or something like that. Okay. So it kind of clears action, if you will. It really, it helps law enforcement across the board basically control an area in a way that they couldn't control it if there wasn't a curfew in place.
So if the clock strikes 8:01 in Los Angeles tonight and there are protesters still out there liable to be arrested, to be detained, that's what you're saying?
They could be. They could be. I'm sure they just go up and they say, hey, it's 8:01. You need to get out of here. And sometimes, honestly, the protesters are out there and they're kind of making a statement stuff, but they don't all want to go to jail. They don't all want to get detained. I mean, there are some that want to make a statement and get arrested and things like that. But for the most part, usually depending on the tempo of what's going on and the fervor of the crowd, that usually around that transition period, they'll move out there. We certainly saw this in previous protests where it got to the time where they were supposed to get off the streets and it was clearly communicated to them, hey, it's time to go. You got to clear this area.
Okay.
And normally they will, not always, but I will say this, if they start wantonly violating their curfew, if they are out there doing vandalism and violence and stuff after the curfew, well, that's a dangerous shift in the situation. And honestly, that's something that President Trump might cite in his decision-making process.
Look at this crowd right here.
I want to put up this post by our colleague at Fox 11, reporter Matthew Seedorf, saying that
keep waving around your non-American flags.
More than 220 people were arrested in downtown Los Angeles Tuesday. That's yesterday.
More than 220 people were arrested in downtown LA Tuesday, which was not yesterday, but the day before. This includes one person accused of pointing a laser at a LAPD helicopter. Yeah, you can't do that. One assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. Holy shit. And 3 people illegally in possession of firearms. Well, damn it.
Oh, shit! Oh, shit!
This includes a person accused of pointing a laser at an LAPD.
But I want to point out one that doesn't get enough attention. That laser at a helicopter, that right there is a felony. If they laze a helicopter, they can dazzle.
I'm hoping it's just starting to die out. That's what I'm hoping for. But we have a lot more footage from last night, and also on some on a political level, we're going to hear Karen Bass. We're going to hear a whole bunch of shit on this show this morning.
Means blind or temporarily blind the pilots in a helicopter. You can imagine the potential hazard that poses if the pilots of the helicopter can't see when they're flying in an urban area with tall buildings trying to do stuff. That is a very serious crime. And so all 3 of those things are very serious crimes. And hopefully putting that out there will quell that kind of stuff. But it also says another thing, too. They're looking to act.
See, we got Brother Lee and Cowboy, man. Good to see you guys both. I appreciate you. We got Anson. We got Chairman of the Board. My man, good to see you. We need some Southern-style crowd control measures. Where are the fire hoses and dogs? I don't see any kettle. Shit. No, I get you.
And they should be. They're looking actively
to
find
see
out
you,
if
though.
anybody in the crowd is carrying a firearm. And it's good that they were able to do that.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll deter anyone else from doing something really as dangerous and just plainly stupid as going to a protest with a firearm.
So, Hal, I'm not entirely sure if this next question is the right question to ask you, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it's becoming a frequent topic of conversation, especially on Capitol Hill from Republican lawmakers, especially whether or not these protests are so organized that they are paid for by certain activist groups here. In what you have seen with regard to the formulation of the protests, do you think they're decentralized or centralized? Is there a top leadership chart in the organization all the way on down, or no, is it more organic than what we're seeing? What say you on that question?
That's actually a very good question. And I understand the FBI is actually actively investigating that to find that out. I'm going to say one thing about protests, and we've seen this. We saw this going back some years.
Man, with all this protest, I have I'm going to take what Steve Easy said yesterday. I've got protester fatigue. We got protester fatigue out here, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what solves protester fatigue is left-handed tobacco, and of course, donations to the Cash App. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Just saying. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the way I've got to cope. This is the way I've got to deal with this. So here we go. Cheers to everybody. All right, let's get into this now.
Years back with Antifa, for example, would be out there protesting, and it would look like a spontaneous protest. But when you start looking at various different protests, you start to see the same individuals show up in different locations, and it looked like they were doing things like command and control. So there are those out there who are, dare I say, professional protesters, in some cases professional rioters, if you will. They go in there and they take advantage of these situations. I have no doubt there are some on the ground here who really don't have a strong feeling one way or another about the topic du jour, but they see it as an opportunity to protest. And in the past, we have found a lot of control communications between them, which doesn't have to be
See you. What's up, Trigger Warning? Good to see you, man.
elaborate. I mean, it can be literally, certainly we've had discussions about senior administration officials.
This is a pretty small protest right here.
Signal, if you will, to communicate.
That they're showing.
Well, they also do the same thing. They'll be using various apps and stuff to communicate things back and forth with the crowd and orchestrate things. And that is pretty much Protest 101. We've seen that with protests over the many years. Now, is this funded by some entity? Are there paid protesters out there? I've seen stuff pop up in the media, where just kind of speculation and things like that. I haven't seen anything yet which shows that this is clearly an orchestrated type of thing.
Okay.
Clearly looked like it was
Shit, what's up, David? Good to see you, man.
spontaneous on the ground. So once you have something like this happen, there is an invitation to those who like to exploit events like this to do things, and they may step in some way.
Hal, last question. They keep coming to me. I know I'm extremely interested in this, as so many viewers are. Is there a shelf life on the emergency, so to speak? I'm not going to ask when this is all going to be said and done. We don't know that. That's impossible to foretell here. But Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, was on Capitol Hill yet again for day 2 of his testimony.
Good morning, brother Hook Dog. Good morning. Good to see you.
How long
and Dwayne.
Will the Marines be in this kind of limbo deployment, ready to go if needed? How long does that last? How long can the president keep a state's National Guard in a federalized status? Do we know that?
Well, I will say this. I've heard them say 60 days. I've heard that out there. They're saying this is initially. I think.
Well, there's been rumors that it's going to be 30 days or 60 days. Either way, who gives a fuck? Let them do their job. I don't understand what the issue is. Who cares? Any city and town is subject to this very shit that is happening in Los Angeles. Don't act like that this is, this is what Karen Bass is saying. Oh, we're the experiment over here. No, the fuck you're not. You're subject just like anybody else is in any town, in any part of any city. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Any state. You're subject. You're on federal. This is federal land. I don't understand what they're getting at over there in LA. They're just kind of actually inciting more riots throughout the region rather than go ahead and bring tame this shit down. Instead, it's definitely amped other people to do it, which is inciting.
I have not seen a copy of the orders, but it sounds like the orders were initially for 60 days with certainly they'd always have the option to extend. How long can you keep National Guard in federalized status? Well, you can keep them in federalized status for years if you wanted. There's really no cap on that. And if you want to go back to World War II, the National Guard troops got federalized and they stayed there until the war was over plus 6 months. So there's a long time you can do this. But really the cap, the ticking clock in the background is one is a law, as we've mentioned on the, as we've talked about, it's called the U.S. Economy Act. It's one of the, when I was doing this, where I was coordinating military support of civil authorities in all its various incarnations, 2 things you looked at. One is you can't violate posse comitatus if they're in federal status. The other was the Economy Act, which basically says that you've got to look for the most economical source of goods and services. Why? Because the military is extremely expensive. And Congress back in the early 30s didn't want various agencies always going to the military to do stuff because it's really expensive, very capable, but really expensive. So there's some things that have to happen. The Secretary of Defense and probably the other secretaries involved, the supporting and supported secretaries, I should say, or cabinet members, have to sign off on a waiver to allow this presence to continue to allow the use of military forces for this particular mission. That's kind of that's a de rigueur administrative step they have to take.
Okay.
But at some point there, Congress will look at it. The courts might look at it and say, did you really need federal troops out there doing this? Could you have found another way to do this? So there is overview. So that's kind of the ticking clock, but there isn't like you got to get them out there in 2 weeks or you got to get them out in 30 days. Nothing like that.
Okay. There does seem to be an as long as it takes quality to some of the comments coming from Secretary Hegseth and even President Trump. So that's why I asked that question. Hal Kemper, as always, thanks so much. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
Holy shit. Man, make sure you guys hit that like button for, you guys don't have to like it for what's happening around the, over there in California and actually some parts of the, the rest of the nation. But you guys can hit that like button for me and my takes. You know what I mean? Very much appreciate you guys. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hear the very beginning of Karen Bass, the lame ass. Let's go ahead and hear what she's got to say yesterday evening.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let me just say that I am proud to stand here with leaders from our region. There are over 30 mayors represented here who I think reflect the concerns that are going on in our communities right now. A week ago, everything was peaceful in the city of Los Angeles and in all of the representatives behind me in their cities as well. Things began to be difficult on Friday when raids took place, and it's important that I begin there.
How come your previous stuff, your previous conferences, you said it started on Thursday, and now you're saying it's Friday? But okay, just catching that.
Because that is the cause of the problems that have happened in the city of Los Angeles and other cities. This was a this was provoked
Provoked
by the White House.
Oh, really? How? How?
Emotional damage.
By enforcing the law, it was provoked by the White House. Bro, get out of here.
Stop the cap.
Stupid ass.
Stupid. And why? We don't know. I posit that maybe we are part of a national experiment to determine how far the federal government can go in reaching in and taking over power from a governor, power from a local jurisdiction, and frankly, leaving our city and our citizens, our residents, in fear. All of us represent cities in this region where immigrants are key, and if in some cases not the majority of the population. To have people live in fear like it is today is just unacceptable. So we started off by hearing the administration wanted to go after violent felons, gang members, drug dealers. But when you raid Home Depots and workplaces, when you tear parents and children apart, and when you run armored caravans through our streets, you're not trying to keep anyone safe. You're trying to cause fear and panic. And when you start deploying federalized troops on the heels of these raids, it is a drastic and chaotic escalation and completely unnecessary. These aren't the criminals the administration is allegedly targeting. These are mothers and fathers, restaurant workers, seamstress, home care workers.
Oh my goodness, what a bunch of coke.
Everyday Angelinos trying to make a living.
Everyday Angelinos that are what? Illegal? Oh, whoops. Forgot about that part, right? I can't believe she advocates for the opposition. It's absolutely insane. I can't believe that she's able to like go up there and start basically protesting the federal government. That's insane. What she wants, her solve to this, stop the raids. So you mean the very thing that the majority of Americans voted for Donald Trump to do, which now you're going not only against federal law, but now you're going against the majority. So it's not very smart.
We've heard stories of unmarked federal vans parked near LAUSD school graduations. A U.S. citizen, 9 months pregnant, who was hospitalized after being detained by federal agents, and an apparel business in downtown LA raided, where many Korean and Latino workers work long hours to support their families.
Extra surprise.
Let me just say that I am very proud to stand here with the mayors, the leadership of so many cities, but you should take note that the individuals that are here with me today are all leaders in their area, and we all stand in support. And
so these are all mayors in the background back here, by the way. These are all mayors.
Solidarity and call for the raids to end. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Mayor Lemons from the city of Paramount.
Oh, I could give two fucks. Oh, well, it's Paramount. That's kind of cool. I want to hear that.
Thank you, Mayor Bass, for bringing us together today and for your leadership in this difficult time. I stand before you today as the mayor of Paramount, a proud, tight-knit community that has been deeply shaken by recent events. In the last few days, our residents have faced loss, uncertainty, and fear. For many in our city, this has been one of the most devastating moments in recent memory. Lives have been disrupted, families are too afraid to leave their homes, and the very places that once served as gathering spots for joy, like our beloved swap meet, have been marred by fear. As a vibrant gathering place for our diverse community, some are avoiding going to work. It continues to get worse as these loyal vendors are forced to stay away out of fear of losing their livelihood. For some, it's the only way they feed their families. To see everyone hurt like this is hard.
What are you talking about? You have nothing to fear. This is all cope from the left, by the way. Oh, they're not wanting to go outside. Yeah, guess what? If they're illegal, yeah, they should be fearful. Yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, you're getting booted. That's what's happening right now. So, yeah, you should be fearful. But guess what? If you're an American citizen, dude, what do you got to worry about? Like all these mayors, like Karen Bass said the same thing. People aren't going to work and this, that, and the other. People are scared to go outside. Well, that speaks volumes about your people. Like that's if that's true, then so that's how many illegal immigrants that you got there. You know what I mean? Like, trust me, I am not worried about getting deported. I am not worried about it. I can go outside because guess what? I'm a fucking U.S. citizen. Mind-blowing, right? I'm legally here. I have nothing to hide. Isn't that fucking crazy? dude, insane, Cope. It's so stupid.
Stupid. Heartbreaking. Last night at our city council meeting, we heard from our residents. Their anger, their fear, and their uncertainty about the future is understandable. Not only did we hear it last night, myself and members of the city council witnessed the devastation firsthand that Saturday morning. We share the same anger, sadness, and trauma. Then to see the presence of the National Guard in our city, it only makes things worse and leads to unnecessary escalation. We can and will do better to serve and advocate for our immigrant population. I want to speak directly to the people of Paramount. We see you, we hear you, and we are with you. We acted last night and directed staff to create a special fund that will financially help our immigrant families affected during this challenging time. And it doesn't stop there. The City Council and staff are working tirelessly to develop other means of support and assistance, doing more to support our community. We will also be seeking out our residents who have been
Wow, I'm just noticing that. Oh my God, you're right, Charles. So these are all mayors in California. You know, Californian towns down there, cities. Look at that. Look how many women. Yo, that's a good call out, bro. I didn't even really actually notice that. Damn, that's weird.
Directly impacted so that we may hear from them and provide direct support. Paramount is resilient. We've been through challenges before and we will rise together. We are also grateful for the regional collaboration that's happening right now. We cannot face this alone. This is a moment for cities to stand united, regardless of our boundaries, because when one community is hurting, we all feel it. To our neighboring cities, to the county, to the state agency, and to Mayor Bass, thank you for extending a hand to our residents. Your support means the world.
Man.
And next we have Arturo Flores. Mayor.
No, I don't care about that one dude that speaks. I don't care about the one guy that speaks. Okay, dude. Whole bunch of fucking cope, dude. This is insane. All right, let's get back into what Karen Bass is going to say. I'm sure there's going to be some questions or something here.
Everyone's contact information up here because we only have a few minutes for questions, but we want you to have complete access. Yes, are you going to...
Not cap. That's cap. We want you to have complete access. Stop capping, yo.
Stop the cap.
Oh, my God. I can't handle it.
I'm sorry, do I have what?
Do you have any comments about, or do you have any reports about the raids that happened today in the morning in the city of Downey?
No, but I think that the mayor from Downey did address that and can address that a little later. I have actually a call in the next few minutes, not with him, but to get the call set up. Well, yeah, that I want to speak to the president. And that,
Jesus.
I want him to understand.
I'm going to end this here in a second with this.
Significance of what is happening here. You know, there are reports that if all of the military that have been designated to be deployed, if you add them all up, it's more military than are serving today in Iraq. And the money that is being spent, $130 million.
And? What's your point? There's more military that's on the street here than in Iraq. And? What's your fucking point? Yeah, you guys are terrorizing your fucking city. Yeah, it's going to happen. There's going to be law and order. I promise you. Whether how much resistance you want to give, I promise. Let me just go ahead and reduce it and skip it ahead for you guys. There's always going to be law and order. It's just the way it is. You can't, there's chaos like that. The normal American citizen is not getting down with that. I promise you. I promise you. That is not the general consensus. People don't support this shit. They look at this and they're going, you guys are fucking retarded. This is insane. It is insane.
All of our cities could use that money.
Stupid.
All right, I'm done. I'm done with this bitch. All right, I'm over it. All right, so I got an interesting story here that I'm bringing up here next. Little in-betweener, but, you know, because we're still going to be talking about the protests. We still have more stuff on that. And we also have a CIA releases new RFK assassination documents as well. But this story that we're going to be going into here is a very interesting one that is breaking as well about 4 hours ago. Air India Boeing plane crashes with 240 people aboard.
Breaking news out in India. Take a good
Out
look
in India.
at your screen. I will say viewer discretion is advised. This is a live feed, and we are trying to monitor the latest images. The Associated Press reporting early this Thursday, an Air India passenger plane bound for London with 244 people on board crashed this Thursday in India's northwestern city of Ahmedabad, the airplane and local media reported. Visuals on local television channels and what you're seeing live right here on Live Now from Fox show smoke billowing from the crash site near the airport in Ahmedabad, a city with a population of more than 5 million.
So 244 aboard. Damn.
The Director General of the Directorate of Civil Aviation told the Associated Press that Air India flight AL-171, which is a Boeing 787-8, crashed into a residential area about 5 minutes after taking off at 1:38 p.m. local time. We are learning there were 232 passengers and 12 crew members aboard the flight, which had been bound for London's Gatwick Airport. Gatwick posting on X this Thursday that it could confirm the flight, which had been due to arrive at 6:25 p.m. in London, which did crash on departure. As we further survey this breaking news, India's civil aviation.
Oh yeah. It's a competency issue and resistance issue from Karen Bass, of course, the LA mayor, and then you have Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, who both of them, trust me, the whole thing is. I've heard all the arguments. Where they're like, oh well. There's more than enough police at LAPD. There's more than enough to have law and order there. Well, guess what? The police only do what the governor and the mayor tell them to do. So when the governor and the mayor are resisting this whole thing, then the feds have to come in and say, well, you're not doing your job and you're not getting with, people are getting hurt. Businesses are getting vandalized. Federal buildings are getting fucked. Like, we have to protect this shit. You have to have law and order. And if you're not going to use your police force in your incompetence, then we're going to use ours. That's basically what happened.
Aviation minister posting on X as well that rescue teams have been mobilized. You are seeing that in real time as well. We're also learning that all efforts are being made to ensure medical aid and relief support at the site. The 787 Dreamliner is a wide-body twin-engine plane. We're learning this is the first crash ever of a Boeing 787 aircraft, according to the Aviation Safety Network database. The aircraft was introduced back in 2009 with more than 1,000 delivered to dozens of airlines, according to the Flight Trader 24 website. We are continuing to monitor this live feed. If you're just now tuning in, good morning to you. Breaking news this Thursday. We are learning the Air India passenger plane with 244 aboard has crashed in India's northwestern Ahmedabad city. Again, you are getting a live look there as chaos is unfolding, understandably so. Again, viewer discretion is advised. You can see the feed going in and out as rescue operations are underway. People flocking to the area to figure out what is going on. I do want to pot up the audio just to set the mood and the scene as all of this is unfolding.
Oh man, this is going to be just sounds of chaos if we hear any sound from it. Man, that's totally a bummer. Yeah, it's just pure chaos, bro. Yeah, that's super, super unfortunate, dude. I feel terrible. So real quick, regarding the ICE, we're going to get back on track here regarding the ICE protests. I have something that's interesting here that we're going to be presenting here. So anti-ICE protesters tipped off about LA hotel housing ICE agents. What the fuck? Dude, this is getting out of control. This is insane.
Morning, we're just outside the DoubleTree where we saw protesters get broken up by police moving in. It started off peaceful, and I want to show you what we can see here. Some of the damage. There's graffiti on some of the property here. Again, this started off as peaceful, but into the night, at one point, a window was broken. Several cars here in the parking lot were damaged. Around 11 p.m., Whittier police and sheriff deputies moved in and began deploying flashbangs to disperse the crowd. Take a listen.
They threw tear gas and they started charging at us like not too long ago. And we weren't doing, honestly to God, we weren't doing anything wrong. We were just keeping it peaceful. And, they gave us a warning and we backed off like they said. And out of nowhere, there was like a group of police people just coming out from the left and right, like charging at us. We kind of have like this app that tells us where ICE is going to be or where a protest is going to be, and we all just look out for each other. It's like it's a big community.
Well, that's what it's turned into, you know, because I actually, you know, it's funny because I don't support this shit, but I do absolutely support the right for peaceful protesting. Absolutely. You know what I mean? It's just what the left has turned this into. Instead of calling it what it is, if they just called it, you know, hey, we're having riots down here. We gotta fucking figure this out. Instead, they're like, oh no, it was just a couple of people, or all this cope that you're gonna hear. Oh, this was mostly peaceful. This was mostly peaceful. Yeah, motherfuckers, you need to stop the cap, yo. You know what I mean? That's exactly why I made my video on Instagram. That's exactly why I did it. Was because all the left saying it was majority, it was mostly peaceful. And I'm sitting there going, mostly peaceful my fucking ass, yo. Mostly peaceful my ass. Yeah. Call you later. I find this whole thing ironic. You have a whole bunch of these protesters out there that are protesting with the Mexican flag, the very flag that they don't want to go back to, the very country they don't want to go back to, the very country they don't want to get deported to, burning the American flag and spitting on top of it. Mostly peaceful, right? Yeah, mostly peaceful. Yeah. Call you later. Mostly peaceful, homitos. All right, back into this story, man.
Protesters also got word that ICE agents were staying at the embassy suites in Downey after multiple raids in that city. The crowd there playing loud music and trumpets, dozens of them. Police eventually moving in to clear some of those demonstrators off the property around 2 a.m., but it remained peaceful overnight. And in Glendale, a group of more than 100 protesters gathering at the Hilton. Now, we are seeing this continue here throughout the morning. We did check with the DoubleTree here in Whittier, and no confirmation of ICE agents staying here at this hotel. But as you heard, those demonstrators say they're using an encrypted messaging system to communicate with each other and figure out where those ICE agents are believed to be housed. And those protests are now sparking out at those facilities. So we'll have more coming up throughout the morning. For now, live in Whittier, we'll send it back to you.
Interesting. All right.
In
Marty,
Whittier.
thank you. We also saw protests break out following a series of ICE raids in Downey.
Oh, man. Oh, man. I dated a chick that her family was from Downey.
As well as the whole Los Angeles community. ICE invaded, terrorized our cities.
Terrorized our cities. Get the fuck out of here. If they're illegals, they're not. It's not their city. You know what I mean? It's your city. If you're legally here, then what the fuck are you complaining about?
Making their voices heard last night following a series of immigration enforcements in the city. Agents reportedly making detentions at multiple locations, including a gym, a car wash, and outside a church.
I do not have to listen to you. This is the property of the church.
I do not have to listen to you. You're gonna find out real quick. You know that whole term, "fuck around, find out." Yeah. You're playing with that right there. Sounds like a little bit of emotional damage to me. That woman.
Emotional damage.
Decided to keep going closer to the vehicle so that the man could hear me say, "Don't answer any questions. Do not sign anything. Do not sign anything." They did point their rifle at me.
It's unclear how many people.
Yeah, they did point their rifle at me. Yeah, if you don't abide by what they're telling you to do, they're gonna fucking. Dude, it comes down to force, motherfuckers. That's how this shit works. We got Frederick Frame up in the building. Good morning to you as well, man. Good to see you as always. Shit.
In Downey were detained in yesterday's operations. The city's mayor is among 30 local mayors who are calling for an end to immigration operations. As anti-ICE protests continue to spread across the country, California and the Trump administration are now squaring off in court today.
A federal judge will have to decide whether the president has gone too far in his deployments of the National Guard and the Marines. Doug Luzader has a preview of the hearing.
The answer is no. Even a court recently determined that. He's totally in his rightful. He's working under the law. I don't understand why it's an issue. This is not just subject to LA. This is subject to all of the land, homie. Every town, every city, every state is subject to this shit.
With more flare-ups on the streets of Los Angeles, the National Guard troops around federal buildings and Marines who are training and waiting in the wings will be the central issue in a federal court today. At the Kennedy Center last night, President Trump was greeted with both cheers and boos as he attended a performance of Les Mis. On the way in...
Real quick, I gotta read this out loud because it's a W comment. Steve Easy says, am I confused? Didn't Trump run on this and win? Why can't the left accept the L like adults? W comment, homie. Yep.
He defended his actions in California.
But we didn't bring in the National Guard and the Marines. You would probably have a city that was burning to the ground.
But in court today, California will call Trump's actions an unprecedented power grab, arguing that the National Guard and the Marines cannot be used to assist immigration enforcement efforts.
This was provoked by the White House.
City and state leaders say raids by ICE agents touched off the protests in the first place. And demonstrations have popped up in other cities as well. The White House maintains the president is well within his authority to protect federal buildings and agents.
President Trump will never allow mob rule to prevail in America.
And polling suggests immigration enforcement is a strong issue for the president.
It's an issue that really has sustained Republicans politically for some time. The big question is there a point where they could go too far?
The left can't even act like it wasn't like dude never ran on it, never spoke about it, and then now he's suddenly enforcing it like a motherfucker. No, he was transparent with the American public, the voter, and to the world, said, this is what I'm going to do. And won. So I don't know why we're met with extreme resistance on this. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and bring an interesting story to close out the morning, man. We have a breaking news story about an hour ago, right before we started the show. CIA releases new RFK assassination documents, and this is a quick segment, so don't worry, it's not going to be long at all. And I'm going to set us up to raid somebody who's live right now.
To live now from Fox, as we are following some breaking news just in our newsroom here, the CIA releasing new information on the assassination of Senator Robert F. Kennedy. Now, we do have a statement from the CIA that I am going to pull up your screen here in just a moment. It's pretty lengthy, so bear with us here. We do want to get all that information to you. So there it is on your screen. I'm going to read verbatim what is in this press release. So today, the CIA released 54 declassified documents related to Senator Robert F. Kennedy's assassination, consistent with President Donald J. Trump's Executive Order 14176. This release provides an additional 1,450 pages of historic material that the agency is making available to the public for the very first time. These documents complement the thousands of pages that CIA provided to the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and National Archives and Records Administration as part of their public releases related to former President John F. Kennedy from earlier this year. The records reveal for the first time that Senator Kennedy shared his experiences traveling to the former Soviet Union with CIA, reflecting his patriotic commitment to serving the country. CIA remains dedicated to fulfilling President Trump's mandate to release all records related to the assassination of Senator Kennedy, and today's efforts represent another significant step toward achieving that goal. We're hearing from CIA Director John Ratcliffe. He says, quote, today's release delivers on President Trump's commitment to maximum transparency, enabling the CIA to shine light on information that serves the public interest. I am proud to share our work on this incredibly important topic with the American people. This release is the product of a collaborative effort directed by President Trump and led by Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, with strong coordination and partnership among CIA, Department of Justice, and Federal Bureau of Investigation. So again, if you are just joining us, this breaking news, we are reading verbatim here from this press release of the CIA releasing new information on the assassination of Senator Robert F. Kennedy. Now, we're waiting to see if we're getting more reaction in here on social media. I do have my producer looking for us. But in the meantime, I do want to read to you a statement from U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He says, quote, lifting the veil on the RFK papers is a necessary step toward restoring trust in American government. I commend President Trump for his courage and his commitment to transparency. I'm grateful also to Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe for their efforts to root out and declassify these documents. The newly released materials bring the total number of CIA documents declassified and published on this matter to more than 200. So that's amounting to nearly 5,000 pages. The documents are accessible via the government's website at CIA.gov if you are interested in reading them. Again, if you are just joining us here on Live Now.
I mean, this looks like a whole bunch of lawyer talk, to me, but I don't know. I can't decrypt that documentation for you guys, so I really don't even know what really was said regarding the official press release on this. But hey, it is what it is.
From Fox 4, this breaking news, CIA Director John Ratcliffe putting out this press release this morning that more than 1,000 pages on Senator Robert F. Kennedy's assassination have been declassified.
Good. There you go. Okay, that they actually declassified the whole thing.
We'll continue to follow this here on Live Now from
That's awesome.
Fox.
And of course, you guys know that we'll be breaking anything that's going on here as well. It's not, I don't know if it's been completely declassified, but it sounds like, 1,000 pages is probably going to be explanatory. But who's going to read 1,000 pages? I'm just going to be real. Who's going to read 1,000 pages? But anyways, listen, you guys, stick around for the raid. We're going to be raiding our buddy. Let's see if Black Dragon's still on. It shows he's still on. So let's go ahead and send him his way. Go ahead and let him know that we're coming in with the Mike Ball raid. And make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. I very much appreciate your guys' engagement, your guys' conversations. I really appreciate your guys' donations. Hitting that like button, as always, man. I very much appreciate all that, man. Listen, little side note, make sure you guys follow my Instagram right here at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my lifestyle, but of the show, as well as Millennial Food Time. And a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. If you guys are not a part of the Discord yet, make sure that you guys get the link from Naomi. She's going to be dropping it in the chat momentarily. Make sure you guys hit that and join up and continue the conversation with us. We're always in there. So anyways, with that being said, much love, honor, respect. Everyone enjoy their morning. And as always, God bless. We'll see you guys.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken, he rides onto wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise.